Hello, Internet. I am Corion, your witch in residence. And if you haven't been under a rock the last little bit, you'll know that MGM and Amazon have started producing a new Stargate series set in the Stargate SG-1 version of the universe. And it's going to be a continuation, not necessarily like a reboot or anything like that, using the history of the previous series. So I would almost call this Stargate SG-1 the next generation, if you will. Now, I think there's some very, very interesting pieces, though, to the original 10 years of Stargate that we got. And I'd like to talk about some of the things that I observed from it. Now, before I get too deep into that, though, if you guys have friends or relatives or you yourself are not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I hope today is the day I win your subscription. And if there's something that you need to win you over to subscribe to the channel, please leave a comment on this video so that I know what I can do to make things better for you guys. Now, with that obligatory ritual out of the way, let's talk about the deeper meaning behind Stargate. Because I believe the Stargate universe isn't just fun adventure. I mean, it is fun adventure, but it embeds the ideas of portals, ascension, false gods, the human soul's journey, all of which resonate deeply with spiritual, magical people who are interested in the occult and those frameworks. Now, for those who are new to the Stargate universe, the Stargate franchise originally starts in 1994 with a film by Rolf Emmerich, where in ancient Egypt they find a portal device, and using modern technology and some ancient knowledge glimpsed by a Egyptologist, they managed to open a portal to a nearby planet that is still ruled by the Egyptian god Ra and uses the local inhabitants as slaves. Now, cut to 1997, and the TV series SG-1 starts on the premise that the Stargate doesn't just go to this one other world, it goes to many other worlds. And SG-1 is the premier team that is going to travel around the galaxy, meeting other aliens and learning about other civilizations, and boldly going where this ancient species that created the gates had gone before. Now in 2004, they started a companion series called Stargate Atlantis, which saw these ancient gate builders having built a home in a far-flung galaxy that Earth has finally figured out how to connect to, and a colony of modern-day humans moving into the ancient city, and all the adventures and craziness that can go with that. Now, 2009 saw the current final entry into the franchise, Stargate Universe, which takes the concept of the ship that was automated and roaming around and seeding the universe with stargates, still being out there seeding gates in a new galaxy, and this crew getting onto that ship and traveling around the galaxy with very little control over where they would go next. Now, the core concept is basically that this Stargate, this big stone ring, is a device capable of enabling instant travel across the cosmos. Ancient civilizations, gods as aliens, and humans that were getting deeply into the core of what it truly meant to be human and what that legacy means. Now, there are a lot of cool things that it touches on. Ancient myths and mythology, new technological discoveries, and, a lot of talk about humanity and our place in the universe, which turns into a metaphor for humans' inner journey to become something greater than themselves. Now, speaking of which, one of the big themes in at least the series after the first season or two, is the concept of the ancients. These are the first race of humans that went out and, traveled the galaxy, learned everything they could, and eventually became beings of pure consciousness and energy. Um, these ascended humans have evolved beyond physical form. Now, personally, in the Wiccan path, the idea of a soul transcending the material and becoming light and energy and merging with this concept of becoming a higher being is ultimately one of the major goals that Wiccans tend to seek, is to join with and become worthy of being like the gods. Now, that being said, one of the interesting things that the this universe did do is the concept that there are false gods out there, that there is this species called the Goa'uld that were posing as the Egyptian and other pantheons gods. And a lot of the stories of the mythological gods that we follow being, kind of dicks at time was because these alien beings were posing as these gods and creating a religion to use to enslave people. And as the series progressed, they actually found out that just like there were these good humans that had ascended and were being kind of a subtle guiding hand behind the scenes, there was a group of ascended beings that decided no, they kind of liked being worshipped as gods and used that to control the populace of their home region. Now, in my craft, there is a danger of externalizing the divine and not recognizing it in yourself and others. Um, it's easy to put the problems of other things going on onto beings that are beyond our ability to connect with, right? The idea that, oh, something bad happened to me because the gods decided they hated me or what have you, instead of saying, no, no, the choices I made led to situations that I got into where things could have gone well, but they didn't. And accepting that and being okay with that. So I did kind of like that they genuinely put forward the idea of gods that are out there that actually, are about the ideal becoming manifest, and the idea of, through balance and care and love and compassion, but a certain sense of detachment, allowing one to become more than what they were previously. So, kind of a cool idea to explore, right? I also really like the idea of the Stargate as this portal, this threshold to something completely different, right? As a symbol, this is, like as a writing tool, this is great. You can have a Stargate show take these characters anywhere, to any time, to any concept that you want to play with. But as a symbol, that kind of feeling when you walk into a room and you can't remember what you walked in for, but you feel like there's an important purpose for you there? That's called a threshold effect. And you know, that's kind of deeply meaningful to people like me, because they see that as a doorway to other awarenesses, to a deeper cosmic identity, right? And really, that concept of exploration of beyond what we know. And really, that's kind of part of the fun of the show, because teams go out, they meet aliens and alien worlds, they face moral and spiritual choices. They really get a chance to talk about what it means to be human, to hold power, and to choose whether we want power or to be of service to a larger community and a larger self, right? And that's something I think we can all touch on, right? This idea of thinking deeper about the pieces that they're trying to talk to us about, right? And the series actively engages with people of religious belief, both real and fictional. For instance, Robert C. Cooper talked about faith and false gods, and that there may be people using religion to cover up their bad deeds, and that religion has to be a personal journey for it to truly matter to you, right? I think there's an important component of critical engagement with belief where you have to sit down and ask yourself the questions that really matter to you and see if the religion as practiced, not as idealed, connects with you. Because if it does, then by all means go forward and embrace it. And if it doesn't, perhaps finding something more in line with how you want to live your life may be ideal for you. And I think that's an important option available to you, right? Um, we have, to me, one of the most interesting arcs that Stargate goes through is in season 9 and 10 of Stargate SG-1, with the idea of the Ori. These are the evil ascended beings. And I think it's really interesting, this idea that there are the good ascended beings who are good because they do as little as possible to interfere with the day-to-day lives of current generation humans, and let them figure out what is important, what is valuable to them, versus the evil Ori or ascended beings that created a religion as a method of control by making people believe that if you believe this religion hard enough, you too can ascend, can become more than oneself, right? I really like the concept of the whole idea behind ascension, that eventually humanity grows and evolves to a point where we become more than our physical body can handle. And we begin almost a process of a metamorphosis into a being of energy, of thought, of will. There's something beautiful about that idea, right? And, there's something deeply cool about an idea of this device that feels like magic, but it can be understood like science, that can take these characters to any place the human mind can come up with. And how beautiful that idea is, that we get to become comfortable with our discomfort, to explore these new cultures and new ways to be human, right? I personally love, when I was doing research for this video, there was one fan on Reddit that said, religion in general has always been a central theme of the Stargate franchise, and watching Stargate made me question my religion. And they go on to say that eventually they found a congregation of their faith that more closely aligned what their beliefs were, that the most important pieces were to be a good person. And if there was a deity that valued us being good to each other and trying to become more than ourselves, then that was the path that he felt was right. So I think this cosmic myth making, this idea of being able to peel back the curtains behind our myth and find out what was really going on, is really kind of a fascinating idea. And the ideas that they touch on in terms of the UFO community and conspiracy theories, and watching they're in universe sci-fi because they want to know what people are thinking about what's going on is kind of cool, right? It's a neat game they play. So what I want to suggest is there are a bunch of places online where you can watch Stargate episodes. And I would like you to take a look at some of the early episodes and ask yourself a couple of questions, if you will. What thresholds are you crossing? What weirdness are you walking yourself into? What false gods or beliefs you know that are not right are you worshiping right now, right? And what do you see as the way for you to evolve into the beings and the future that you want to see for yourself? And if you can, in the comments, which Stargate episodes resonated with you the most? I'd love to hear about them. And if you guys put together a list of 5 or 10 of them, I'd love to sit down and watch them and review them for the show. So please give me your top episodes, right? And tonight, actually, because you're going to be seeing this on Sunday, the Writer Brothers and I are going to be talking to Cameron Pasha about Stargate. So I highly recommend coming on and talking to us about it. I think this announcement is the perfect moment to sit down and remember that Stargate is more than adventure. It's a vehicle for spiritual reflection, right? And these days, try to remember that the gate we walk through is not just a wormhole in space, but it is a door to the different inner consciousnesses that we all provide ourselves. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope I've given you something to think about, and I hope you'll avail yourself of the comment section. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful week.